My wife left me for a billionaire because I was still dreaming. Then I landed a $2 billion contract, and she learned what those dreams were actually worth. The divorce papers arrived on a Tuesday. I remember because I'd been up for 36 hours straight working on a pitch that could save my company, and I opened the door thinking it was the coffee I'd ordered. Instead, it was a process server handing me the end of my 8-year marriage. My wife Amanda didn't even have the decency to tell me herself. I got legal documents and a post-it note on the kitchen counter. I packed the essentials. My lawyer will contact you about the rest. The essentials. Like our marriage was a sinking ship, and she was grabbing the valuables. I sat at that kitchen table reading through the paperwork, and that's when I saw his name. Richard Castellano. Filed as a relevant party in the asset disclosure section. I knew exactly who Richard Castellano was. Everyone in our industry knew him. Real estate mogul, investment portfolio worth an estimated $3 billion, regularly featured in Forbes and Bloomberg. Amanda had been sleeping with him for 6 months. I'd been too buried in work to notice. Let me back up and explain how we got there. 3 years earlier, I'd left my stable 6-figure job as a senior project manager to start my own construction and development firm, Morrison & Associates. Except there were no associates. Just me, a business loan, and a dream of building something that mattered. Amanda had supported the decision initially. Said she believed in me. Said she was proud of me for taking the risk. But believing in someone and living through the reality of a startup are very different things. The first year was brutal. I took contracts too small to be profitable just to keep the lights on. I worked 100-hour weeks. I missed anniversaries and birthdays and weekend plans. Our savings evaporated. We went from comfortable to counting pennies. Amanda's resentment grew with every declined credit card and postponed vacation. When is this going to pay off? She'd ask, standing in our increasingly empty living room. We'd sold furniture to cover payroll for my 3 employees. Soon, I'd promise. We're building something. It takes time. Everyone says that. Most startups fail, Marcus. What if this is just your expensive midlife crisis? Year 2 was worse. A major contract fell through when the client went bankrupt. I had to lay off 2 of my 3 employees. We moved from our house to a 2-bedroom apartment. Amanda stopped wearing her wedding ring, said she was afraid of losing it, but I knew better. She started going to networking events several nights a week. Started dressing up more. Started mentioning Richard Castellano's name in conversation. Richard says the construction industry is moving towards sustainable materials. Are you exploring that? Richard thinks small firms struggle because they lack capital access. Maybe you should look for investors. Richard. I was too exhausted and too desperate to pay attention to what was right in front of me. Year 3, I finally landed a decent contract. Municipal project, good money, visibility. I thought we'd turned a corner. I came home excited to tell Amanda we could finally breathe. She was packing. What's going on? I asked, my celebration dying in my throat. I'm leaving, Marcus. I can't do this anymore. Can't do what? We just landed the Anderson project. Things are finally stabilizing. I don't want stabilizing. I don't want maybe someday, or just 1 more year. I need security now. I need a life now. That's when she told me about Richard. How they'd met at a charity gala I'd been too busy to attend. How he'd pursued her. How he'd shown her what life could be like with someone who'd already achieved success. I'm 42 years old, she said, folding expensive clothes I didn't remember her buying. I don't have time to wait for you to maybe make it. Richard is established. He's successful. He can give me the life I want. The life you want. What about the life we built together? What life, Marcus? This apartment. Your business that barely survives month to month? Your promises that never materialize? I married you thinking you'd be successful. You're not. Each word was a knife. I'm building something meaningful. You're building a fantasy. And I'm done being poor while you chase it. She left that night. Moved directly into Richard's penthouse overlooking the city. Posted photos on social media within a week. Her in designer clothes at fancy restaurants. Her at charity galas on his arm. Her living the life she decided she deserved. The divorce was quick and brutal. She wanted half of everything, including half ownership of my struggling company. My lawyer advised settling. She's entitled to marital assets. Fight it and you'll spend more on legal fees than the company's worth. I gave her a cash settlement that nearly bankrupted me. Took out another loan against my house, the one we'd already sold. Signed papers that made me feel like I was selling pieces of myself. The last time I saw her in person was at the final divorce hearing. She showed up in a designer dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent, with Richard waiting in the hall like a guard dog protecting his acquisition. Before she left, she turned to me with something that almost looked like pity. I need a man who's already made it, Marcus. Not one who's still dreaming. I hope you understand that someday. Then she walked away, her heels clicking on the marble floor, leaving me sitting alone in that courtroom with nothing but debt and broken promises. The first month after the divorce, I didn't get out of bed except to handle absolute emergencies. My remaining employee, James, basically ran the company while I fell apart. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. in my cheap apartment and look at Amanda's Instagram. Her smiling in Santorini. Her at private art gallery openings. Her wearing jewelry worth more than my annual revenue. It was poison, but I couldn't stop drinking it. Then one night, scrolling through her perfect life at 2 in the morning, I saw a photo that changed everything. Amanda and Richard at some gala, and the caption read, "With the most successful man I know. Dreams are nice, but achievement is everything. Dreams are nice, but achievement is everything." I stared at those words until they burned into my brain. Then I got up, opened my laptop, and started working. If she wanted achievement, I'd show her achievement she couldn't even imagine. I stopped looking at her social media. Blocked her on everything. She was dead to me, and dead people don't deserve your attention. Instead, I channeled every ounce of pain and rage and humiliation into my work. Every time I wanted to call her, I made another business call instead. Every time I thought about what I'd lost, I focused on what I could build. I looked at my company with brutal honesty. We were small, scrappy, and barely surviving. But we had something bigger firms didn't: innovation and flexibility. The construction industry was changing. Sustainability wasn't just a buzzword anymore, it was becoming a requirement. But most major firms were locked into traditional methods, too big to pivot quickly. I spent 3 months researching sustainable building materials and techniques. I visited factories. I talked to engineers. I learned everything I could about green construction, modular building systems, and carbon-neutral development. Then I redesigned our entire business model around it. Morrison & Associates became Morrison Sustainable Development. We specialized in eco-friendly commercial construction using cutting-edge materials and techniques that reduced building time by 40% and carbon footprint by 60%. It was risky. It required investing money I didn't have in training and new equipment. But I was already at rock bottom. The only direction left was up. The first project was a small office building for a startup that cared about environmental impact. We completed it 3 weeks early and 20% under budget. The building got attention from architectural magazines for its innovative design. That led to a second project, then a third. Word spread in the sustainable business community. We were the firm that could deliver green construction without sacrificing quality or timeline. 6 months after my divorce, I hired back my laid-off employees and brought on 5 more. A year later, we tripled our revenue. 18 months later, I opened a second office. I lived like a monk. Every dollar went back into the business. I worked 18-hour days, 7 days a week. I had no social life, no hobbies, no distractions. Just work. People asked if I was okay. If I was pushing too hard. I was better than okay. I was focused. I had purpose. Then I heard about the Meridian project. Meridian was the largest mixed-use development proposal in North America. $2 billion. 20 buildings. Sustainable from the ground up. The contract would go to a single firm to handle the entire development. Every major construction company in the country was pitching for it, including Richard Castellano's firm. The moment I heard about it, I knew I had to win it. Not just for my company, for something deeper and more personal. My team thought I was insane. "Marcus, we're competing against firms with 100 times our resources. Castellano alone has." "I know what Castellano has," I interrupted. "I also know we're better." We spent 4 months preparing that pitch. I personally reviewed every detail, every projection, every design element, every sustainability metric. I brought in consultants I couldn't afford. I hired a presentation coach. I rehearsed that pitch 100 times until I could deliver it in my sleep. The pitch meeting was scheduled for a Wednesday morning. The selection committee included the Meridian CEO, their board members, city planners, and environmental consultants. I wore my best suit, the one I'd bought with my last credit card that wasn't maxed out. I walked into that conference room with my team, and I saw the competition. 12 firms, billions in combined resources, including Richard Castellano sitting across the room, looking at me like I was a joke. He actually smirked when he saw me. This small firm owner who'd lost his wife to him. This nobody trying to play in the big leagues. I smiled back and waited my turn. When they called my name, I stood up and delivered the pitch of my lifetime. I didn't just present a construction plan. I presented a vision. A development that would set new standards for urban sustainability. Buildings that would produce more energy than they consumed. Water systems that recycled and purified. Materials that were beautiful, durable, and carbon negative. I showed them detailed financials proving we could deliver this vision under budget. Timeline projections showing we'd complete ahead of schedule. Risk mitigation strategies addressing every possible concern. I showed them our completed projects. The innovative solutions we'd pioneered. The awards we'd won. the client testimonials praising our work. And then I showed them something no other firm could offer: passion. The big firms will treat this as another project, I said, looking each committee member in the eye. Another line item in their portfolio. Another revenue stream. To Morrison's sustainable development, this is everything. This is the project that proves sustainable construction isn't just possible, it's superior. We will pour every ounce of our innovation, our dedication, and our expertise into making Meridian the model for 21st century urban development. I sat down to silence. Then the CEO started clapping. Then the others joined. Richard Castellano stared at me with an expression I'd never forget. Shock, respect, fear. 2 weeks later, I was in my office reviewing contracts when my phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Morrison? This is Gerald Whitmore from Meridian Development. I'm calling to inform you that the selection committee has chosen Morrison Sustainable Development as the lead contractor for the Meridian project. Congratulations. I stood there holding the phone, unable to speak. Mr. Morrison? Are you there? Yes. Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Morrison. You made believers out of all of us. We'll send the contract over tomorrow. Welcome to Meridian. I hung up and sat down at my desk, put my head in my hands, and cried for the first time since the divorce. Not sad tears. Victory tears. The press release went out 3 days later. Morrison Sustainable Development wins historic $2 billion Meridian project. My phone exploded. Congratulations from clients, colleagues, industry contacts. Interview requests from business publications. Investment offers from venture capital firms. Partnership proposals from major companies. And buried in the hundreds of messages was one from a number I deleted but still recognized. Marcus, I just saw the news. I'm so proud of you. I always knew you'd make it. We should talk. Amanda. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I deleted it without responding. She called twice. I didn't answer. She texted again. I know you're busy, but I'd love to catch up. So much to talk about. I blocked her number and went back to work. The Catalyst Foundation Gala was 2 months later. Black tie charity event. I normally skip these, but Meridian CEO personally asked me to attend. You're one of us now, Marcus. Time to start acting like it. I bought a proper tuxedo. First one I'd ever owned. And I invited Jennifer, an environmental engineer I'd been working with on the Meridian designs. Smart, kind, passionate about her work. We'd been grabbing coffee between meetings, and I liked her company. It's not a date, I clarified. Just 2 colleagues attending a professional function. Sure, she smiled. A professional function where we dress up and dance. Totally not a date. I arrived at the venue, a historic hotel ballroom, with Jennifer on my arm. She wore a green dress that matched her eyes. She looked beautiful. We were making our way through the crowd when I saw them. Richard Castellano. Distinguished, gray-haired, wearing a tuxedo that probably cost more than my first car. And next to him, looking slightly uncomfortable, was Amanda. She'd aged in the 2 years since I'd seen her. Still beautiful, but there was something harder in her expression. Something unhappy despite the designer gown and expensive jewelry. Her eyes found mine across the room, widened with recognition and something else. Regret? Calculation? I couldn't tell and didn't care. She said something to Richard, started walking toward me. Jennifer felt me tense. You okay? Fine. That's my ex-wife. Oh, the one who? Yeah. Amanda approached with her society smile, the one she'd perfected for events like this. Marcus. Wow, it's so good to see you. I've been trying to reach you. Congratulations on the Meridian project. That's just incredible. Thank you. My voice was polite but cold. I always knew you'd make it big. I told Richard just the other day, I always believed in Marcus's vision. The lie was so blatant it was almost funny. I didn't respond. We should get together sometime. Catch up properly. I'd love to hear about everything you're working on. Maybe grab dinner next week. Jennifer's hand tightened slightly on my arm. A subtle gesture of support. I don't think that's a good idea, Amanda. But I appreciate the offer. Oh, come on, Marcus. We were married for 8 years. We can at least be friends, can't we? I looked at her directly. Really looked at her. This woman who'd left me at my lowest point. Who'd said I was chasing fantasies. Who'd chosen security over partnership and abandoned me the moment things got hard. No, I said simply. We can't. Richard had made his way over, probably sensing the awkwardness. He extended his hand in a gesture that was more territorial than friendly. Morrison, congratulations. Hell of a contract. I shook his hand briefly. Thank you. Enjoy your evening. I turned to Jennifer. Should we find our table? As we walked away, I heard Amanda say my name once more. I didn't turn around. Didn't acknowledge it. Just kept walking with Jennifer toward our future. At dinner, Jennifer leaned over. That took guts. What? walking away like that. She clearly wanted to talk, wanted back in. She wanted access, I corrected. Big difference. She didn't want me. She wanted what I'd become. Still, most people would have enjoyed making her feel bad. You just left. Making her feel bad would mean she still mattered. She doesn't. Jennifer smiled. You're kind of impressive, you know that. I'm just focused on moving forward. To Meridian, she raised her glass. To whatever comes next. We clinked glasses. And for the first time in years, I felt genuinely happy. Amanda tried 3 more times to contact me over the next month. Email, LinkedIn, a handwritten letter to my office. I didn't respond to any of them. Through industry connections, I heard things. Richard's business was struggling. Some bad investments. Some projects that went sideways. He was still wealthy, but the shine was coming off. I heard Amanda had started working as a real estate agent, that she was trying to rebuild her own career after years of being Richard's accessory. I heard their marriage was strained. None of it gave me satisfaction. I'd moved past caring about her story. Morrison's sustainable development success with Meridian opened doors I'd never imagined. We landed 3 more major contracts within 6 months. I hired 50 new employees. Opened offices in 4 cities. Forbes profiled me, the sustainable construction visionary. Bloomberg covered our innovative building techniques. Industry organizations invited me to keynote conferences. My net worth crossed 8 figures. Then 9. I bought a house overlooking the water. Not to show off, because I liked the view and finally could. Jennifer and I started officially dating 6 months after the gala. She made me laugh. She challenged my ideas. She cared about the work, not the success. A year after winning the Meridian contract, I got a call from Richard Castellano's lawyer. Amanda was filing for divorce. The prenup he'd insisted on left her with minimal assets. She was essentially starting over at 45. Part of me expected to feel vindicated, to feel like justice had been served. Instead, I felt nothing. She was a chapter I'd closed. Whatever happened in her life now was none of my concern. 2 weeks after her divorce was finalized, Amanda showed up at my office. My assistant tried to stop her, but she pushed past. She looked different, older, tired, real in a way I hadn't seen in years. I know I have no right to be here, she started. I know I don't deserve your time. But Marcus, I need to say something. I gestured to the chair across from my desk. Didn't speak. I made a terrible mistake leaving you. I was scared and impatient, and I chose security over love, over partnership, over everything that actually mattered. And I've spent the last 3 years realizing what I threw away. She paused, waited for me to respond. I didn't. I'm not asking you to take me back. I know that ship has sailed, but I needed to tell you I'm sorry. For leaving, for the things I said, for not believing in you when you needed me most. I looked at her for a long moment, saw genuine remorse, genuine regret. Okay, I said. Okay. I hear your apology. I appreciate you saying it. But Amanda, we're done. Not because I hate you. Not because I'm angry. Because I've moved on completely. You're not part of my life anymore, and that's how it needs to stay. Tears filled her eyes. I know. I wanted you to know I see it now. What we could have had. What I destroyed. What we could have had required you to be there during the building, not just the success. You weren't interested in that journey, and that's fine. People want different things, but it means we wanted fundamentally different lives. She nodded slowly. You're right. I just wish I'd understood that before I destroyed everything. Learn from it, I said, not unkindly. Find someone who wants the same things you want. Build something real with them. But that person isn't me. She stood up. Thank you for seeing me. And Marcus, I really am happy for you. You deserve all of this. You earned it. She left, and I felt peaceful. That evening, I told Jennifer about the visit over dinner. How do you feel? She asked. Relieved, closed, ready to focus completely on the future. Good, because I've been thinking about the future too. She pulled out architectural drawings. Plans for sustainable housing development for low-income families. Beautiful, functional, affordable. Everything our work should be. I was hoping Morrison's Sustainable Development might be interested in a pro bono project. Use our Meridian success to give back. Build something that really matters beyond profit. I looked at the drawings. At her excited expression. At this woman who cared about impact more than optics. When can we start? She smiled, leaned across the table and kissed me. This was what partnership looked like. This was what building something together actually meant. Not someone who wanted the finished product. Someone who wanted to create it with you. 6 months later, we broke ground on that affordable housing project. 12 months after that, Jennifer and I got engaged. Simple proposal. No drama. Just 2 people who'd built something real, deciding to keep building together. Amanda sent a wedding gift when she heard. A card that said, congratulations. You found what I was too blind to appreciate. I donated the gift to charity, sent a polite thank you note, and never thought about her again. Success wasn't about proving Amanda wrong. It wasn't about making her regret leaving. It wasn't even about the money or the contracts or the recognition. It was about proving to myself that the dream was real, that the work mattered, that building something meaningful was worth the sacrifice. She left because I was still dreaming. But dreams are just visions waiting for enough work to become reality. The best revenge isn't rubbing your success in someone's face. It's building a life so fulfilling you forget they existed. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, drop a comment about your own comeback story. I'd love to hear it.